we're not doing
Okay,
it.
now go ahead.
We'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
We have a couple of additions to the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, on the consent agenda, item number 2, Commissioners' warrants, we have add-on warrants this morning from general revenue in the amount of $16,731.10, $16,731.10. At 9:02, I'd like to add to the agenda recognition of Pipestone County Sheriff's Department on their post-compliance review, and Sheriff Freeman is here, and we'll bring him up for that. And Kathy has informed me she has no personnel items for today, so that can be scratched from other business. And also the second item down, the approve the JPA for the SW pick. You can scratch that as well. That was taken care of last meeting, so all I had to do this meeting was get chairman's signature. So that was approved. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have for additions and corrections.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approve the consent agenda, the minutes of 5/10/22, the commissioner warrants, auditor warrants, and the hospital warrants.
Mr. Chair, I'd move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next up, we have Keith. Sheriff Freeman. Edison.
Mr. Chairman, I received a letter on Friday from Minnesota Board of Peace Officers Standards and Training, and they requested that I share with all the board members that the Sheriff's Office has passed their comprehensive review of their records concerning mandated employee training and department policies, and they passed the review. So they requested, please take a moment to recognize your police department, however we'll call it Sheriff's Department at this point, but that they passed that. So I think this deserves recognition. And Keith has any comments, or Edison, about it? That'd be great.
I brought Edison down because it's getting hard to do. Every year it changes, with legislation, all the training we have to do and keep track of it. But Edison kind of keeps it going. A lot of our guys do the training so they can train us, which makes it a lot in-house training. Kind of spendy to do that, but it's not cheap running everybody all over the state either to train. So our guys are real good about it. That's like I said, Edison kind of keeps it all our backgrounds and stuff, does that together. So got good guys that do a good job with it. So I haven't even seen the letter yet, but I know he didn't take my license when he left, so I figured we must have passed. But
We want to commend you on a job well done.
Yes, thank you.
We're proud of you.
as well.
yeah.
Thank you. I assume this is an annual review, I assume?
No, they try to hit you every 3 years. With COVID, it's been on and off. They did some online stuff, but this is the first time they've been here in a while again. So, but they go pretty deep into it. I mean, they look at every little thing and all their backgrounds and make sure you did all the right doctors did the right stuff. And I mean, they look pretty close at what you do. And so sometimes our guys do. It's like, why do we got to do all this stuff and sign off on everything? And this is why. So. Just
Well, thank you for your diligence, guys.
thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Can I ask, is the jail up and running?
This is Monday, last Monday, so
Week ago.
a week ago now, so it's, I don't know, 7, 8 people in it probably.
Yep.
So, yeah, so far, so good.
All good? Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick?
Good morning.
Morning.
It'll be really short for me today. Just a few quick updates. As we talked about before, the bridge by Island is going rather slow with the extremely hard rock they've encountered. We met on site with the DNR because the work is obviously not going to be completed by the time the Shiner deadlines come on. And the summary of that meeting is, when they started work out there, they put in a sheet piling cofferdam around in the water. So then they're working inside that, so it's really not bothering the fish there. They used a clean fill inside there, and then they're installing their piling through that, and they'll excavate that and put the rock in there. And the DNR was very happy to see how that was going. So they said it'd be all right to work outside that deadline. I guess we do have to add a little bit of silt curtain around there, so when we pull the cofferdam out, there'll be a little bit of sediment that comes out of that will contain it. So I'm really happy with how that went. So if you hear that we're working in the water outside the timelines, there we have it. We've already met on site with DNR and got approval to do it. So, and we thought this was a possibility. So we've had conversations with them about the possibility of it dating back to, I think, January we started this conversation. So it's not like it's a giant surprise at the last minute, if everything went according to plan, it wasn't going to be an issue, but stuff like this happens, so that's why we got out in front of it.
So how is it going? Are they making progress? Or?
They are on the last row of piling. I'd have to check. I don't think they'll be done this week, but if not this week, I'm hoping they'll be done next week. So then things are really going to pick up out there.
How long will it take approximately once the pilings are done?
I'm not sure. This is a really big bridge, bigger than what we're used to putting in, and it's got that walking little sidewalk on the side of it, so that'll add a little bit to it. So I don't really want to guess myself because I'm afraid I might be off on that. But
You think we'll make it by the 4th of July?
I doubt it.
Labor Day?
Yeah. But then the contractor's behind schedule too now. The prime contractor, not the sub that's doing the drilling. Well, I guess he is too. So he might try to make up for some lost time. So I really hate to guess at how much longer it's going to be because if he pulls some other guys in to try to speed things up to get back on schedule, things will go quicker then. So I don't really know what to say, I guess, on that. But,
Okay.
Is there a penalty phase on this project?
yes, there is. So we'll have to see where we end up and consider all the everything going on out there, and then we'll talk about that. So I know we're gonna disturb the busy season at the park. So the contractor or the park has asked for some additional signage to help get people there, and due to the speed of how things have been going, the contractor said he'd just take care of the bill on that. So, he's working with us too, and
Right,
they understand. So they're trying to be decent about it. So that was a nice gesture of them. So I haven't heard when those signs will be up. We just talked about this yesterday. So hopefully I know more by the end of today. I told him I'd like to see him up by this weekend because I'm sure they're going to start getting visitors, and that's what he was going to try for with the signage company. So.
I know we'd mentioned it before too, so the gravel road to the south, and you've been doing extra grading on that. I know part is county, part is township, and calcium chloride. What are we doing there?
We've just done blading thus far. I don't think we've added any gravel. I'm not sure. They're pretty much done driving on that now with the construction equipment. There'll be some concrete trucks coming,
But for the park visitors.
park visitors will have to go that way, and we'll make sure it's touched up by the end of the week. For the traffic this weekend.
And another question, and it might be a moot point now because you're just about done drilling, but did anybody ever ask the engineering people why it is, if we're in bedrock, why do we have to keep drilling deeper and deeper into bedrock?
So I asked them, the plans require a minimum tip elevation on some of the piling, but they also require it to be embedded at least 10 feet into the rock. And I asked about that because I thought, well, maybe we can just go to 5 feet or something. But it has to do with something to do with the stiffness of the metal piling. Like they need to be embedded that far to help hold them straight. I know that sounds really odd, but you know, we're dealing with a lot of weight here. So I'm not a structural specialist, so I'm leaving that up to them, but they really wanted to stick to the 10 feet in rock. I also happened to later be talking to a different structural engineer about a different topic, and he was kind of a little curious on the drilling operation too, and he made some comment about, yeah, I mean, you really got to go down quite a ways for that pile stiffness. So like, oh, that really struck me. So I had 2 independent structural engineers say the same thing, you know, essentially the same thing, that it's important to go that deep. So like, I'm just going to take their word for it. They would know more about it than I would. So, so yeah, that's where we're at on it. It's just a really, really, really hard rock.
Okay, thank you, Nick.
Yep.
Better than an I-35 situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we don't want that.
You don't want to be on the news.
No.
Now, this same crew is the one that's doing the bridge west to Island too, right?
Yes. Yep. So since the DNR was down, the one west of town is pretty unique. The contractor would like to start on that since all their stuff's here. They would be jumping the gun on the timeline. So since DNR was here, we went and looked at the other one too. That one's really odd because that deck is kind of bolted together. So instead of like jackhammering it apart and just blasting it to pieces, we can unbolt the sections and pick them off of there nicely. Then the 2 abutments that are there are actually up out of the water now. So the only thing there is 1 pier. So I asked the DNR, like, with all things considered, that we're not, you know, just smashing that deck. You know, we're just picking the pieces off and the abutments are out of the water. I said, is there any chance we can do this one now in that Shiner restriction window? You know, the only disturbance we'd really have is pulling that old pier out of the water. And he wants to meet with the contractor and myself when he's back down to review the one they're working on now. But he said he thought that was possible, that due to the unique circumstances for that one, we could possibly work in that restricted time frame. So I think that's really good news too. So stay tuned. We'll see.
Is that
Hopefully
one
it all
going
works.
into rock too?
Yeah, they'll be drilling into rock on that one. If we don't get the okay to work in the water, we're still going to do the piling since the drilling people are here, because you never know when you'll be able to get them back. You know, it's kind of hard to schedule that stuff. So we might have to dig a trench through the road, put the piling in, and then fill it back in with gravel or something until they come in. But I think that's the way to do it. So we keep moving. I'd like to see them get started on this now, so hopefully we can be done well in advance of harvest. You know, like the detour is not very friendly to get around there. So
Yeah, there's a lot of truck traffic that
Yep.
comes from the west there.
Yep. So I'd really like to see that done before harvest. So, either way, we won't be messing in the water on that unless we have DNR permission. So if you see us there, that means we got permission. So, last item for me. I did see the preliminary draft for that intersection review at the Dars corner. If you remember, we're partnering with the state and I think the city to do that traffic review there to come up with some solutions. And right now it looks like they have a formula, and I think they're going to come to a board meeting to explain it better. But it looks like that formula is spitting out either do nothing or install a mini roundabout, I think they called it, or a single lane roundabout. I don't remember, but my first question to that was, how much is that going to cost? And with construction and right of way and everything, they were thinking guesstimating $2 to $2.5 million. So I think that probably pulls that option off the table, but we'll see. There'll be more to follow on that, but I'll get you guys that report when they get it finalized, and then I assume you'd like them to come and present that, answer some questions on it. at a board meeting here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I told him I thought you'd like that, so, now when I talk to him again, I'll just tell him for sure you want that, so. So, yeah, I think they put a lot of effort into this report, and I don't know, there's some black box technology, I guess, to it, if you will, but, I seem to follow along with everything else, so. Yeah, well, like I said, I'll pass that on, you guys can review it, and, then they'll be here to present, and you can ask some questions, so. So, outside of that, that's all I had. Any questions for me? Otherwise, that's it for me today.
Any questions for Nick?
Just Gary, well, I probably wouldn't get excited about the roundabout. I mean, how would that even work as far, knowing what's on that corner?
They didn't really answer that part.
Does it cost that much because you'd have to buy out some people, or?
I think the cost of the roundabout was, I want to say $1.5 million or something, and then they made some comments about, but it's a pretty tight corner, and I think, well, that's why I'm asking, and they didn't really have a number on that, and then they kind of talked around a little bit, and then it was 2, and then it was maybe 2.5, and so
Either be utilities to move, and you might have to cut it, move a house, or?
I'm thinking that, yeah, there might be some property acquisition. you know,
Parking lot loss, and
Yeah, just all kinds of stuff, so.
Get into the cemetery.
no, cemetery.
It's,
The Woodstock Cemetery there.
No, no, we're talking at Dar's Corner.
Oh, okay.
yeah, Dar's piece, like 8th Avenue, so,
Okay.
8th Avenue and Highway 30, it's our County Road 15, but, so, yeah, I think that would be a pretty big hurdle, you know, creating the space to even fit it in, so.
Besides the cost.
Yeah, so I wanna say it was like $1.5 million for the structure, and then, you know, another $500,000 to $1 million or something for the utilities and property, so something like that, but either way, like, yeah. I pretty much heard enough at that point, so. I don't know what our share would be, but I'm sure it'd be something, you know, so. All right, well, I'll let you know more when I know more on that, so. All right, that's all I had today, and, I guess, our overlays, I don't think will be wrapped up this week. I think it'll be middle of next week, the paving will be done, so they're moving along well with that, so.
I see we had a warrant for overlaying that we paid just recently, so,
Yeah, I think it's about $1 million, so.
yeah.
There'll be another really big one coming, and then a fairly big one after that, and then it'll be the final one, so. So, yeah, it's expensive work to do, so. All right, well,
Okay. Well, thank you, Nick.
yeah, have a good long holiday weekend, everyone.
You too.
Move on down to the other business quick. Approve the University of Minnesota extension with the fairgrounds. agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I have in your packet, request to the University of Minnesota for the fairgrounds use from the years 2022 through 2027. Cost is 0. This is a agreement that's been done over the years with the extension as in the past. So recommendation would be to authorize signing of the agreement. No additional use, you're not gonna pay anything for it, and everything is as is out there. So basically for events, that type of thing, so it's not anything too odd that needs to be done. So the specific facilities is the livestock arena, the livestock barns, the horse arena and barn, the exhibit building, old 4-H food stand, and the county food stand. Those are the facilities that they would be using for various Pipestone County Extension programs, meeting, and events.
Mr. Chair, move for approval.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
And we have an out-of-state travel request.
Mr. Chair, I can shed light on this if you'd like. Pipestone Area Coalition, or Anti-Alcohol Coalition. The group has sent delegates to this over the number of years. It's the Montana Institute. Dr. Lukenbach is a gentleman that came and did a presentation here one time, and he has a seminar out there. And they've asked that I attend that this year. It'll be the third week in June. They'll pay expenses for it, and I just wanted to do it correctly and bring it to your attention for the authorization for out-of-state travel request.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Kinda waiting on Kyle right now.
Yeah. I guess we'd go through the upcoming meetings. On the 9th, we have District 8. We're hosting it at the Country Club this year.
Correct.
And then on the 13th, we have Employee Appreciation Grill Out.
I think I should let you know on that, the EMS had their EMS week grill out last week, and they had 300 brats and 130 hot dogs, and it was a complete sellout of everything.
Really?
Good.
So they had more people than they ever imagined there. It was great. So they sold out everything. So the only thing we got left we can use out there is we'll have to go buy some brats and some dogs now, but there's some hot dog buns left over and a couple cans of beans. So so it was a very, very well attended turnout last week. And they actually raised over, I think Casey said, over $800 for the food shelf. And that will buy like almost times 3, about $2,500 worth of food.
It's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
Then also on the 13th, that evening at 7, we have Board of Equalization. Well, with that, do we take a short break until Kyle shows up?
Oh, no, that's fine.
Recess.
Take a break. Okay.
Okay, we'll reconvene. Kyle?
Good morning.
Morning. Morning, Norm.
Got Norm Van Dyke with me this morning. Norm called me last week about fuel costs and the recycling contracts. So we had a solid waste committee meeting last Friday. Norm came to that meeting and made a proposal to the solid waste committee that I'm bringing to before the full board today. And we had a pretty good discussion just in general about recycling, fuel costs, the future. The current recycling contract goes for another year, so it'll go through the end of '23. We're planning to probably touch base with Van Dykes and meet as a committee probably in January of next year to confirm where our future is going with that contract. And as far as the fuel, the current contract doesn't allow for adjustments to the current negotiated price in the contract. So Norm was requesting that we consider allowing them to have a surcharge on fuel with the prices being what they are today. And the request, and I can let Norm speak on this, but the request from Norm or from Van Dyke Sanitation was 15% increase when fuel costs increase above $4 per gallon. And the committee can speak, or Norm, if you have anything more you want to say. But that was kind of the proposal or the request from Van Dyke Sanitation on the recycling contract.
Diesel or gas, Norm?
Diesel.
Diesel?
Yeah, we ain't got no gas truck.
All of them are diesel. Okay.
Yeah, they have one main truck that's dedicated for recycling.
It's only recycling.
That's a side pickup.
So anyway, yeah, we kind of went through that, and I was talking to Brad about it this morning, and we kind of figured it out. on that truck, I think when we first got it in October of 2018, it was brand new. And I think we used it once before we started in January of 2019 that, we just tried it out. But other than that, all the miles are put on it just for, we don't haul garbage with it, it's only for sanitation. So we kind of figured it out at that time, or now. This morning it had 78,463 miles on it. And we figured that was, take that divided by 41 months. And it comes to like 1,913 miles a month. And if we get about 3.7 miles to the gallon on that. So that comes to 510 miles, or 510 gallons a month. Well, after we had the committee meeting, diesel fuel in Edgerton was over $5. And I got back that day and it was $4.98. So I don't know what's gonna happen or whatever, but, so if we figure that out, just say $1 a gallon over what I was talking about, instead of 4, it's 5 or whatever, it only comes to like $600 some a month. And we decided that, and that's why I come today, I wasn't going to, but instead of taking you guys' time up and trying to break the contract and all that kind of stuff and get a lawyer involved or whatever you have to do that, we just decided we can live with that until we have a meeting in January or something like that, and then put that on. So it's nothing you gotta spend time on or anything like that. I didn't know how many guys were involved, but everything is going pretty good, and you guys have been good to us, so we just decided to drop it for now.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for either Van Dyke or me?
Norm had shared with us that letter that he got from Millennium. I think that was very interesting. You might want to share that again as well.
Well, we got a letter from Millennium, and I think Kyle's got that yet.
Yep.
In November and December of 2021, we got a letter from the Millennium Recycling that they were going to pay us back for the dumping fee, which is $40 a ton. Pay us back for November and December of 2021 because we're one of the only 3 counties that haul in there that are perfectly clean. So I thought I'd bring that letter to you guys the other day, and yeah, it's really it's good for us, but it also makes the county look good. To all the people that read anything about recycling, I don't know how many guys do that.
I think you guys have done a good job of reaching out and educating
Well, yeah,
residents too, so that's a good combination of the two.
like I told these guys, the first one we started, people were still throwing a bag of garbage in or whatever, and we always picked that out and set it by the curb or threw it by the curb or whatever. But and then, when all of a sudden they decided to take plastic bags out of the thing, that was another deal too, but everybody's doing everything pretty good, so. There's a few of them. There's always 10% that ain't gonna do what you wanna do.
So they waived the tipping fee then for the entire quarter, so for 3 months?
Well, they paid us for 2 months.
For 2 months. How many tons do you estimate you have in 2 months' time? I know it varies.
Well, I don't know, but I don't want this to get advertised or anything like that, but it was about $1,400 a month.
That's great. Well, it helps offset some of the fuel cost as well too. That's good.
At that time, yeah.
Lessen the burden there a little bit.
And they had also had in there about something, they didn't know how future was for this year or whatever. But yeah, and if recycling goes down, it's gonna, if their price goes down, that they can't.
Right.
It sounds like the prices are up currently, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. So.
Oh yeah, we were planning to put a notice of, kind of a thank you in the papers for the recycling.
For everybody in Pipestone County.
Yeah, the residents should
Makes
be
them look good.
recognized for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So,
Used to be the biggest problem we had, wasn't it the shopping bags from the grocery stores and that type of thing, and
yeah,
They didn't want that in
discontinued
there.
all- The only thing they can use a bag right now for is shredded paper. They'd rather have a clear bag, but they will take a white bag, cause when it goes down the line, they can tell what's in there.
Right.
But other than that, all bags are, and they for sure don't like black bags, so.
Alright. Kyle, don't the grocery stores take those, the shopping bags now? Some of
They
them have
used
bins.
to, I haven't seen is Coburn still doing
They
it?
still do, I know.
Hanks does also.
That,
The paper bags, they take that.
yeah, speaking from a landfill perspective, that's probably one of the toughest materials or that they're dealing with, or one of the problem materials is all the black bags.
Yeah.
I mean, they blow around at the landfill, but it's a large portion of the waste stream that's not not able to be managed.
So anyway, I first wasn't gonna come, but then I thought I'd stop in and explain to you guys, so. None of you gotta decide today, so.
Well, we appreciate the job you're doing.
Yes,
Yeah,
very much.
worked out very well for the county.
Yeah. So anyway, just thought I'd stop and tell you guys that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks for your
For everybody's
time.
sake, I hope the fuel prices go down.
Well, I couldn't figure out that day. The fuel went down, the gas went up.
Really?
It's teeter-totter.
So I don't know I never did look today what's in town on diesel fuel, but yeah. That little place in Edgerton went down, so maybe they got some of the dirty stuff. Okay, we'll see you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Norm.
Yep.
That was nice.
So we gotta wait until 10 for Amanda.
Yes.
Do you have anything else, Steve?
No, Kathy and I were just talking, I was gonna mention too, we just chatted about a minute before we went on break, that Joyce Smith is gonna do a voluntary reduction in hours of 8 hours a week. She's dealing with some issues in family, and she needs some extra time to work through those things. So it's a temporary thing, and we go no later than November 1st, so she'll just be doing 32 hours, and Chris is taking on more of the responsibility, and this is
Good
thought
opportunity.
it was a good way to do it. We met with her, Kathy and I met with her last week, so thought I'd mention that quickly.
And we'll recess again.
Okay.
Okay, we'll reconvene, and next up, we have Amanda on a home tax abatement.
Right. So yes, we need to do the public hearing for the home tax abatement for Mitchell and Nicole Nelson.
Mr. Chairman, to request a motion to open the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are in public, or close, public. Okay.
All right, so you should have received the packet. Mitchell and Nicole Nelson, they have requested a new home abatement. And the property, it originally had been in the parents' name, and they have split that. So Mitch and Nicole are gonna have build a home on the one parcel.
The existing
Nice place.
house is still gonna stand.
Yep, so actually, this one is they are keeping parts of the house and tearing down some parts and adding on. So, yep, so the assessor's office had kind of gone over all that with them and then came up with the value of the difference between the old part that's being kept and that sort of thing, and then the new.
I guess the question I would have was when we originally started the tax abatement program, we said for new construction. So, but what you're saying is the majority of this will be new construction, so it'll still comply with that spirit of that. Okay.
Any other questions?
The permits are there, so zoning permit, yep.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the tax abatement for this property for the Nelsons.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're out of the public hearing. And then Amanda, we have
Yes, and I will note that we did get someone about, just talk about the new home abatements, someone did come in, last week, but they had already started construction, so I told them, you know, according to the application, it is new and prior to construction that they needed to contact us.
we have
so.
refused a couple before because of that. They started before.
That's too bad that they didn't realize that. We've made it really public for people to make sure that they check with us first, so that's unfortunate. I
It
feel
is,
bad.
and they had, they told me that the plans for, their like doing the digging and stuff,
Yeah.
that was supposed to be later, but apparently
The contractor
the
can get started
contractor pushed
early.
it up. But they also do have a modular home and it's already built, they told me, so
Oh,
I said, that's another reason, you know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe we could have kind of looked at it a little closer, but they already had the house. The house is built and ready to be moved as soon as their
Yeah.
basement is ready. So I said, I just don't think that it complies with our policy, so.
Well, I think they're all notified when they do the permitting for it.
and the contractors are all very aware of it, but I can see in this particular case that the nuances kind of, that's unfortunate for that group, but.
Yeah. So yes, next item is, tax forfeiture. So we need to, set a date for the public meeting for the classifying tax forfeit property. We actually had already planned on doing that. It was going to be here in June. Found out that I had neglected to advertise for that public hearing in enough time because we have to get it on the website 60 to 90 days ahead of time. And then we can get it in the paper. The paper has to just be 30 days, but I didn't get it on that website, so we have to reschedule so that I can get that on the website with appropriate timing. But yeah, it's super unfortunate because we kind of had talked and had a plan as to when, kind of had it planned out with dates and then ran across this, so.
Move to set the public meeting for July 26th at 10 a.m.
Okay,
I will second that.
okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Amanda, now that we've got the date set for this, then, there also, after we have the conservation hearing, then we can go, we have to set the price, I understand. Can we do that at that same time?
So that is the plan.
Okay.
Since we kind of now have this extra time, the plan will be, we're gonna kind of get together to get a value prior to, and then we will have we have a buildings committee that will meet with them, which has 2 commissioners on, and we'll kind of come up with a price so that we're ready to come to the.
A minimum value.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to expedite this, I know that we've got time frames, and anything we can do concurrently instead of.
Yep.
Can we project ahead of when we think we might actually be able to have the public auction for this property? Can we set that date now? or is that getting ahead of
I
ourselves?
think we'd set that date along when we set the price.
Yep, so hopefully
So,
on the 26th, if we get our
July
ducks.
26th,
Yeah.
we can do the classification, and then we can do the sale date, and then the price.
That would be nice, and we can be as
Yep. And we'll kind of know a little bit more from what I can tell. We are supposed to wait 30 days to give the governmental entities an option, but I'm gonna reach out earlier, and so then, hopefully everything will work out, and then we would just have to do the publishing for 2 weeks. So from the July 26th, get our 2 weeks of publishing and the sale date. So,
Mr. Chairman, just and Amanda too, it looks like I calculated the dates out. If we have our meeting on the 26th where we classify and set the values, we will publish the ads as required. Given the 30-day notice, we'd publish those the weeks of August 1 and 8. And then the earliest we could have the sale, if I did my math right, you have to wait 10 days, would be the week of August 22nd.
23rd board meeting.
And that would be the public meeting. It doesn't have to be at a board meeting the night. That's just where you invite people down to meet in the commissioner's room, and anybody wants to bid on the property can do so. You just go through each parcel. But kind of way that it works out. And Amanda does know, we know the city wants the third one on the list. That's that piece of ground on the house they're working on for the blight improvement. It'll be the vocational school next house on the corner of Highway 30 and 3rd.
Yep.
Part of the property line on the north side goes through the house.
Right.
And the issue when it went to forfeiture is the property we're dealing with now wasn't up for forfeiture yet. So, yeah, it was a timing thing. So we know the city wants that for sure.
Be nice when they can do that one.
Yeah.
And then, Amanda, I had someone ask me about proceeds from the sale, and I wasn't clear on that. So the proceeds of surplus, or excuse me, a tax forfeit property, that all comes back to the county and it goes into our tax forfeited property fund, or does part of that go back to the state?
part of it will go back to the
Part does
state.
go to the state. Okay. And now the school district doesn't get any of that, even though school district gets revenue off of those, or does the school district get part of that proceed as well? Do you know? I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't know.
guess I'm not 100% on that either,
Okay.
but I do know that the state gets a little bit.
Yep.
Any other questions for Amanda? Well, thank you, Amanda.
Okay. Yes, I apologize again,
That's okay.
so.
So much, the details of it, it's mind-boggling sometimes.
We're learning every day.
Well, and you just don't want to make a mistake on things like this. You have to be very, very diligent in complying. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further business to come before the board?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. 10:09.
Dallas will make sure that in the social section of the newspaper, they'll reference the fact that you provide lunch. Remember the old days?
Oh, yeah.
And so-and-so poured the coffee, they used to say.